Oh boy. Cuphead has been out for about 2 months now, and on December 1st, 2017, we got our first major update. And as a Cuphead YouTuber, I feel somewhat obligated to talk about it. And there's a lot to talk about, so for this video, I'll be using my microphone. So as you can see, the developers spent the past few months collecting stuff to fix in one big update. Some are good, some are not so good, and some I didn't even know weren't intentional. Overall, they pretty much tidied up everything that's known so far and made the game much more stable. No more softlocks, which have been very common to most people. The fights are much more reasonable, especially on the hell levels, and most of the smaller ones have been fixed, such as being able to clip through edges when dashing at a specific height. Also this.
Here comes a spooky bunch. The Goobaboos are out tonight. You failed. You failed.
So I want to spend this video talking about and giving my opinions on some of the things they've changed that stuck out to me the most. The first one that caught my attention was fixing the rapid weapon switch. Now, I didn't actually know this was a thing until I started watching speedruns. I noticed it did so much damage, and from then on, I pretty much just used the same loadout. If you didn't know what the rapid weapon switch was, basically, if you quickly switched weapons while firing, it was as if you were firing 2 weapons at the same time. As a result, the damage would stack, and you would just have a really powerful weapon hybrid. And from the weapon combinations, the roundabout and the lobber had the highest DPS together, more so than the charge shot. Now with the patch, switching weapons would give you a small delay before you could fire if you start switching weapons too quickly. And this delay is most notable with the roundabout and the lobber, which is the pretty much must-have when you're speedrunning. So I'm curious to see the speedrunning meta after this patch, and wonder how they'll go about this game in the future. Also, the patch notes say this was a glitch. I don't think I would call this a glitch, but I also don't think the developers intentionally meant for the stacked firing to happen. Now, the next one I want to talk about would be softlocks. The most notable one I found personally is dying at the same time as the boss decides to change forms. This would leave you in a state where all you could do is watch the boss dance, and nothing you'd press would work. The only way to fix this would be just by quitting the game manually. There are other softlocks, like the one I found rendering the boss frozen and invincible, but this one seems to be the most common. Now with the patch, events like these no longer happen, making the game much more stable than it was before and less likely to softlock. For the next one I want to talk about is you can now unequip items except for your primary weapon. This one I'm glad they did, especially for the charms, because unless you bought a second charm, you were pretty much stuck with the one you bought first. Some of them, particularly the extra health charms, were annoying because the decrease in damage just made things a bit more stressful, especially when dealing with enemies that are supposed to pop in one or a few hits. Now for the last one I found most notable were the fixes they've made to the hell levels. For King Dice, it was the 9th boss, Mr. Chimes. Many of you probably encountered this, but sometimes mid-match, the monkey would suddenly disappear off-screen, ending the fight very, very quickly sometimes. In all of my runs on King Dice's Gauntlet, I've only completed Mr. Chimes' full fight once. Every other time, I'd make him go off-screen. This is pretty much where reasonable fights come in. As much as I like to progress a level with relative ease, I think it ruins the full experience of the game by missing out on things just because you can. Kind of like the warp whistles from Super Mario Bros. 3. They're good for finishing the game faster, but that kind of ruins the fun. Speaking of reasonable fights, I'd like to talk about the Devil's Fight. Perhaps one of the most broken levels before the patch was the Devil's. There were lingering hurt boxes from above and the side of the devil that could be easily exploited, and a couple of the sequences had something that weren't supposed to be there. For the dragon, if he spawned from right to left, there would be a lingering hitbox active in the safe spot, just after he retracts, making it harder to dodge if you don't jump out at the right time. For the goat, apparently ducking on the arms was not intentional, which is fine since my initial reaction the first time fighting was jumping over them. It's just that doing this makes it very hard, especially on the first few times. Also, they still haven't fixed this part. Wasn't the point of this to slowly cave in if you lingered too long, and not just to leave a place to stand? Anyways, I think that's just about all I believe to be the most notable. The rest were more or less expected, but otherwise didn't initially affect gameplay much or at all. Before I end the video, I would like to announce for those who haven't noticed yet that I have made a Steam group called WalTz's Ensemble. I've also made a Twitter as well, at officialWalTz, if you want to keep up with my life. You can find the links in the description below. Cheers everyone, and thank you for watching.